All things sitting. Everyone has to do it at some point, whether it's couch sitting, watching Netflix, or whether it's an office job. But main thing is understanding what's going on, why it's such a big issue, and then what we can do about it. So with regards to sitting, they do say that trying to get up every half an hour is the go. Now, getting up isn't, having an extended lunch break per se. It is literally just walking to the toilet and back, or walking to get a drink and back, just so that those muscles and joints aren't in those sustained positions for long periods of time. So trying to get a quick little break in between. Thinking about the muscles involved, when you're sitting, some of your muscles are in a shortened position. So my hips right now are in 90 degrees, and basically my hip flexors and my hamstrings are both in a shortened position, okay? As a result, when a muscle is in a shortened position for a long period of time, they form a bit of a cast around themselves and they'll tighten into that shortened position. Hence why people that sit often have really tight hip flexors. When they go to get up, they get that big pull through the front of the hip. Secondly, the hamstrings are just always tight. It's a constant battle for them. So those are the two big ones I see that are quite restricted with those that sit. And number two, you're sitting on your glutes all day. That impedes circulation through your glutes, and they will naturally tighten as it is. When you start drifting forwards on your seat, so your backrest is there for a reason, you've got to use it. As soon as you use the backrest, it allows you to keep an upright posture whilst turning off all of those muscles in the back of the spine. So now I am fairly energy efficient because none of those muscles are having to keep myself upright. As soon as I start creeping forwards in my chair, two things happen. Suddenly all of these muscles on the back, all the way from the lower back through to the neck, are suddenly having to contract to try and hold myself upright against gravity, which is a no-go. The other thing as well is I start leaning forwards and my hip flexors start activating to act as a hinge as they hinge from the front of my spine to the upper portion of my thigh. And once again, those guys will be active all day as well. So just make sure that, with that backrest, you use that backrest, you turn everything off, you're as energy efficient as possible, because half the time you come home at the end of the day from work and that you're tired and yawning is because you've been expending all this energy throughout the course of the day sitting. So keep yourself upright. The other thing as well is your head. Your head weighs about 3 kilos. Mine probably looks like it weighs about 5, but let's say 3 kilos. Every 2 centimeters your head comes forward relative to your shoulders, your head doubles in weight. So it's 3 kilos here, 6, 12, 24, so on and so forth. So those that have tight necks, that means that your upper traps, your sternocleidomastoid muscles here, your scalene muscles, your levator scap muscles, they're all tightened because they're trying to hold your head upright against gravity throughout the course of the day. So just make sure you got good alignment, you're as energy efficient as possible. Sort your back out first, get your butt right to the back of the chair, then your lower back and shoulders will follow on the backrest of the chair. And at that point, your head really should be nice and upright above your shoulders. That's probably the biggest thing. And then I think I'm a huge advocate for standing desks. So I've written that many reports to people's bosses to try and get standing desks going, and 90% of the time that's happened. So try and get a standing desk because it'll allow you to migrate between sitting and standing. And all you got to do from that point is not go straight to standing full time. Try and get that ratio 50 to 50 from sit to stand, 60, 40, 70, 30. But that way, you're not in those contracted, short, tight positions for long periods of time. Otherwise, you bring that tightness into your sporting environment, into your gym environment, and it's too hard to try and keep up with unwinding all of those tissues. So there's just some little tips for you guys with regards to all things sitting.